Hello everyone, Kid here, back with another video. Today for you guys I'm going to be reading the Asian Medicine 3 Daotin Chinese Healing Exercises by Live Kun. I'll leave a link to this down in the description box below, along with our email. You can email us at themonies@gmail.com for private consultation. And without further ado, let me get right into it. Abstract. Daotin, the traditional Chinese practice of guiding, Dao and the Qi and stretching Yin. The body is the foreigner of Zhengyuan. Like other Asian forms of body cultivation, it uses a combination of mental awareness, controlled breathing, and slow physical movements to engage the person, develop health, and open ways to spiritual attainment. Unlike yoga and magical movements, its worldview focuses on the concept of qi, or vital energy, the material aspect of the Tao and foundation of human life, and its patterning according to yin yang and the five phases. The practice of Daotin is the first documented in medical manuscripts of about 200 BCE, where simple movements and close correlation to symptoms are the norm. Later Daotist developments involve movement sequences, subletter breathing instructions, and spiritual connections through visualizations and prayers. Diotis also created an integrated system where Daotin, in combination with general rules of moderation and guidelines for healthy living, forms the foundation of advanced immortality practice. They moreover systemize the breathing practices into the various levels of holding, guiding, and enchanting qi as breath. Overall, the differences from other Asian practices dominate. The way Daotin envisions and transforms the body is uniquely Chinese. Keywords: Daotin, Quinkin, Qigong, Yoga, Asian body practices, Chinese medicine, and Daoism. Daoin, the traditional Chinese practice of guiding, Dao, the qi and stretching the body is a foregunner of Qigong, the modern form of exercise that has swept through China and, like Indian yoga and Tibetan medical movements, is making increasing inroads into the West, both in spiritual and health contexts. Like other Asian body practices, Daotin focuses on the body as the main vehicle of attainment, sees health and spiritual transformation as one continuum leading to perfection or self-realization, and works intently and consciously with the breath. In its traditional form, however, more so than in its modern Qigong adaptation, Daotin uses physical stretches and movements in all the different positions of the body, proposes systematic sequences of postures, and names them descriptively or after various animals. Daotin is also familiar to other forms of body cultivation in that it proposes basic ethnical rules and guidelines for daily living that serve to create an environment best suited to personal transformation. Practitioners learn the exact way to execute postures and movements, gain awareness and control the respiration, and work to adjust the breath in accordance with the body postures. Adapts for the use of strengthening the muscles, loosening of the joints, and awareness of internal energies to enter into stages of absorption and deeper meditation, relating actively to spiritual powers, seeking higher levels of self-realization. How then is Daotin unique in relation to other Asian body cultivation systems? Does it pursue the same goal, use the same methods, and reach similar stages, just formulated in a different language and terminology? What is the underlying philosophical and cosmological foundation of the practice? How did it begin? What are some of its key historical developments and sociological settings? How are its practices the same as or different from those of yoga and magical movements? To begin, let us look at the philosophical and cosmological underpinnings of the practice, the worldview of Chinese medicine and Daotist cultivation. Dao and Qi. The body in Dayton forms are an integral part of a body-mind cosmos continuum that cannot be separated and is seen as one. The underlying potency at the root of this continuum is the Tao, literally the way. The term regulates the term indicates how things develop naturally, how nature moves along in its regular patterns, and how living things continuously grow and decline. Tao is the one power underlying all. The fundamental ground of being it makes things what they are and causes the world to develop. Mysterious and ineffable, it cannot be known, but only intuited in tranquil introspection. As the Jianjin, Book of Tao and its virtue, the ancient classic that goes back about 300 BC, says, "Look at it and do not see it. We call it invisible. Listen to it and we do not hear it. We call it inaudible. Touch it and do not feel it. We call it subtle. Infinite and boundless, it cannot be named. Vague and obscure. Meet it, yet you cannot see its head. Follow it, yet you cannot see its back. Although Tao is essentially beyond human perception and cognition, it yet manifests actively in the material, natural world and is clearly visible in rhythmic changes and pattern processes. On this phenomenal level, it is predictable in its developments and can be characterized as the give and take of various pairs of complementary opposites, such as the natural ebb and flow of things as they rise and fall, come and go, grow and decline, emerge and die. Within this dual-layered universe of the Tao, ineffable at the center and manifest in its natural rhythms at the periphery, the second and most essential concept of Daoism is Qi. Qi is the concrete aspect of the Tao, the material energy of the universe, the basic stuff of nature. In ancient sources, it is associated with mist, fog, and moving clouds. Qi is Qi is contained in the foods we eat and in the air we breathe. But more subtly, it is also the life force in the human body, and as such forms of the basis of all physical vitality. There is only one Qi, just as there is only one Tao, but it too appears on different levels of subtlety and in different modes. At the center, there is primordial Qi, parental Qi, or true perfect Qi. At the periphery, there is a postnatural Qi or earthly Qi. Just like the measurable Tao, it is in consistent motion and divided according to categories such as temperature, density, speed of flow, and impact on human life. Qi is the basic material of all that exists. It animates life and furnishes the functional power of events. Qi is the root of the human body. Its quality and movement determine human health. Qi can be discussed in terms of quantity, since having more means stronger metabolic function. This, however, does not mean that health is a byproduct of storing large quantities of Qi. Rather than rather there is a normal, a healthy amount of Qi in every person, and health manifests in its balance and harmony, its moderation of smoothness of flow. This flow is envisioned in the text of a complex system of waterways with the ocean of Qi in the abdomen, rivers of Qi flowing through the upper torso, arms, and legs, springs of Qi reaching to the wrists and ankles, and wells of Qi found in the fingers and toes. Even a small spot in this complex system can thus influence the whole, so that overall balance and smoothness are the general goal. Human life is the accumulation of Qi. Death is at its dispersal. After receiving a core potential of primordial Qi at birth, people need to sustain it throughout life. They do so by drawing they do so by drawing postnatal Qi into the body from air and food, such as well as from other people through sexual, emotional, and social interaction. But they also lose Qi through breathing bad air, overburdening their bodies with food and drink, getting involved with negative emotions and excessive sexual or social interactions. It is thus best to breathe deeply and eat moderately in accordance with the seasons, to move smoothly, exercise without exertion, and match activities to the body's needs. This is how one keeps balance and creates health. In this system, health, unlike the modern West, is not just the absence of symptoms and ailments. It is the presence of a strong vital energy and of a smooth, harmonious, active flow of qi. This is known as the state of Zenhai, or proper qi, also translated as upright qi. The ideal is to have qi flow freely, thereby creating harmony in the body and a balanced state of being in the person. This personal health is further matched by the health in nature, defined as regular weather patterns and the absence of disasters. It is also present as health in society in the peaceful coexistence among families, clans, villagers, and states. This harmony on all levels, the cosmic presence of a steady and pleasant flow of qi, is what the Chinese call the state of great peace, venerated by Confucians and Daoists alike. The opposite of health is Qi, or Wayanard Qi, also called deviant or pathologic Qi. It is Qi that has lost the harmonious pattern of flow and no longer supports the dynamic forces of change, whereas Enshi moves in a steady harmonious rhythm and affects daily renewal, helping health and long life. Xi, distortedly and dysfunctional, creates change that violates the normal order. When it becomes dominant, the Qi flow can turn upon itself and deplete the body's resources. The person no longer operates as part of a universal system, and is not in tune with the basic life force around him or her. Xi appears when Qi begins to move either too fast or too slowly, is excessive or depleted, or rushes or creates rushes or obstructions. It disturbs the regular flow and causes ailments. Yin and Yang and the five phases. Like everything else in the Chinese universe, Qi therefore divides into the two categories, Yin and Yang, terms that originally described geographical features and were first used to indicate the shady and sunny sides of a hill. From there, they acquired a series of associations: dark and bright, heavy and light, weak and strong, below and above, earth and heaven, minister and ruler, female and male, and so on. In concrete application, moreover, they came to indicate different kinds of action: yin yang, yang active, birth, impulse, move, change, expand; yin structive, completion, response, rest, nurture, and contract. In addition, the ongoing flux and interchange of yin and yang was understood to occur in a series of five phases, which were symbolized by five materials or concrete entities: minor yang, wood; major yang, fire; yin and yang is earth; minor yin, metal; major yin, water. These five energetic phases and the material symbols were then associated with a variety of entities in the concrete world, creating a complex system of correspondences. They were linked with colors, directions, seasons, musical tones, and various functions in the human body, such as energy storing yin organs, digestive yang organs, senses, emotions, and flavors. The basic chart at the root of Chinese and Daoist cosmology is as follows: yin yang, phase, directional, season, color, organ 1, organ 2, sense, emotion. Daoism practice accordingly aims to create perfect harmony among these various forces and patterns, which guarantees health and long life. To do so, adapts to use breath, awareness, and movement to open the meridians, lines of qi flow that crisscross the entire body, connecting the inner organs with the extremities. All the various body movements in the practice, therefore, work with the organic patterns of qi in the body and serve to open meridians and enhance the functioning of organs, leading to increased transformation. activity in the yin and yang organs. Organ 2, and to greater ability for the storage of qi in the yin yang organs. As practitioners become adept at this, their health improves. They recover youth vitality and they reach extended longevity. Going even beyond this already is quite a desirable state. Adopts further practice intense meditative states in the hope of entering a deeper awareness of and oneness with Tao at the center of creation, finding perfection through resting in and flowing along with the root of all being. Early practice. Unlike yoga, which, for the most part, grew from the ancient Indian hermit tradition, and Tibetan and magical movements, which are firmly part of a montanistic culture, Dailton arose as part of the Han Dynasty medicine, which, which encouraged people to relish the world in all of its aspects, to find greater health, and to enjoy their physical and social pleasures. As a result, the earliest works on Dailton are immensely practical in nature and can be precisely dated. Found among manuscripts unearthed from southern China, they include the silk manuscript Dailton II, exercise chart, and the bamboo tablets of the Yinshu stretch book. The Dailton II was found in Mawangduli, in the tomb of the Marchioness of Dai, the wife of a local lord who died in 168 BCE. The text consists of 44 color illustrations of human figures performing therapeutic exercises, which are explained in brief captions. See Figure 1. The figures are of both sexes and various ages, variously clothed or bare-chested, and shown in many postures, mostly standing, from a variety of angles. In many cases, they have one arm reaching up while the other stretches down, or one arm moving forward while the other extends back, possibly indicating rhythmical movement. There is some variety among them. Two figures are in forward bend, one head lowered, with the other with his head raised. Another is bending slightly forward with a rounded back and hands hanging down toward the knees. Yet another has one arm on the ground and the other extended upward in a windmill-like pose. The captions are often illegible. Among them are the well-known bear amble and bird stretch, respectively, showing a figure walking in a stately fashion with arms swinging, one bending forward with hands on the floor and head raised. And here's the picture here. The Manduai exercise chart. The lack of written explanations is somewhat alleviated by the Inshu, which consists entirely of text. It was found in a manuscript at Geniskan, also in Human, a tomb that was closed in 186 BCE. The text divides into three parts: a general introduction on seasonal health regimens, a series of about 100 exercises divided into three sections, and a conclusion on the etiology of disease and ways of prevention. The first part, on seasonal health regimens, discusses hygiene, diet, sleep, and movement as well as appropriate times for sexual intercourse. It is ascribed to Penzio, a famous immortal of antiquity, and said to have lived over 800 years. It says, for instance, spring days. After rising in the morning, pass water, wash and rinse, clean and click the teeth, loosen the hair, stroll to the lower end of the hall to meet the purest of dew and receive the essence of heaven, and drink 1 cup of water. These are the means to increase accord. Enter the chamber between evening and greater midnight. More would harm the key. This is a text poem. Figure 2, the stretch book. This places the practice firmly in the home of a wealthy aristocrat with leisure to pursue long life and well-being, and the inclination to perform proper hygiene and develop bodily awareness. It also assumes that the practitioner lives in a society and has a wife or a concubine for bedroom activities. The seam could not be farther removed from the kind of permanent setting commonly believed to lie at the foundation of yoga. On the other hand, we should be cautious of being misled by characterizations of the ascetic Indian yogin as exclusively renunciatory and hermetic, since Hatha yogins appeared to have sometimes lived lives of luxury and opulence. Following a general outline of daily routines, the middle part of the Yin-Shu provides concrete practice instructions describing and naming specific moves. For example, bend and gaze is interlace the fingers at the back and bend forward. Then turn the head and look to your heels. Dragon flourish is step one leg forward with bent knee while stretching the other leg back. Then interlace the fingers, place them on the knee and look up. Pointing backward is interlace the fingers, raise them overhead and bend back as far as possible. After presenting 40 exercises of this type, the text focuses on the medical uses of the practices. It often repeats instructions outlined earlier and in some cases prescribes a combination of them. For example, a variation on lunges, such as dragon flourish, is the following, which can be described as walking lunge. To relieve these muscles, stand with legs hip width apart, hold both thighs, then bend to the left leg while stretching the right thigh back, reaching the knee to the floor. Once done, change legs and bend the right leg while stretching the left leg back and reaching that knee to the floor. Repeat 3 times. Another variant of the lunges is recommended to relieve key disruptions in the muscles and intestines. Lunging with the left foot forward and the right leg back, one goes into a twist by bending the right arm and the elbow and looking back over the left shoulder. After 3 repetitions on both sides, one is to maintain the lunge position while raising an arm at a time and then both arms up as far as one can, each 3 times. Bending the back and opening the torso, the idea seems to be that by stretching arms and legs one can open blockages in the extremities, while the twisting of the abdominal area aids the intestines. Exercises like these in the medical section of the text also include breathing techniques, notably exhalations with Chu, Ixu, and Hu to strengthen the body and to harmonize the Qi flow, as well as exercise in other than standing positions, such as seated, kneeling, or laying down. For example, to alleviate lower back pain, one should lie on one's back and rock the painful area back and forth 300 times, if possible with knees bent into the chest. After this, one should lift the legs up straight to a 90 degrees, point the toes, and with hands holding onto the mat, vigorously lift and lower the buttocks 3 times. An example of a kneeling practice is the following. To relieve thigh pain, kneel upright, stretch the left leg forward while rotating the right shoulder down to bring them together with some vigor. Then stretch the right leg forward while rotating the left shoulder down to bring them together. Repeat 10 times. Following this detailed outline of concrete exercises, the Yin Shu concludes its third part with a list of 24 brief mnemonic statements. After this, it places the practice in a larger social and cultural context. It notes that the most important factors in causing diseases are climatic exercises. People get sick because of heat, dampness, cold, wind, rain, or dew, as well as because of a dysfunction in opening and closing the pores, a disharmony in eating and drinking, and the inability to adapt their rising and resting to the changes in cold and heat. This harks back to the seasonal regimen in the beginning of the text, restraining the importance of climatic and temporal awareness in the way one treats the body. The proper way of treating the body, however, as the text points out next, it is accessible mainly to noble people of the upper classes, who who fall ill because of uncontrolled emotions such as anger and joy, which overload yin and yang qi. Base people whose conditions tend to be caused by excessive labor, hunger, and thirst, on the contrary, have no opportunity to learn the necessary breathing exercises, and therefore contract numerous diseases and die early. This, as much as the fact that the manuscripts were found in the tombs of local rulers, makes it clear that Dayantin practice in Han China, unlike yoga in India, which was originally part of the hermit culture, an historic art undertaken away from ordinary society, was very much the domain of the aristocracy and upper classes, and aimed predominantly at alleviating diseases and physical discomforts, providing greater enjoyment of daily luxuries and faster recovery after raucous parties. Also, the very existence of the texts, with their detailed instructions, shows that the practices were public knowledge and accessible to anyone with enough interest and financial means to obtain them. Historical records show that medical and philosophical materials were often collected by aristocrats. Some searched out already written works, had them transcribed; others invited knowledgeable people to their estate, and had them dictate their philosophical sayings and medical recipes to an experienced scribe. While knowledge was transmitted orally in a 3-year apprenticeship from father to son in professional medical families, or from master to disciple among inherent practitioners, and within philosophical schools, the dominant tendency was to offer this knowledge to society at large, and there was little concern for the establishment of close-knit hierarchies or historic lineages, which only became important in later religious developments. Daoist transformation. As history moved along and yoga was adopted by health seekers and began to spread into wider segments of society, Daoism moved in the opposite direction and became part of the Daoist enterprise of attaining immortality. The transformation of Chinese healing exercises into an aspect of religious culture had to do with the emergence of various organized Daoist groups that adopted some cultivation methods practiced by Chinese hermits. Most prominent among them was the school of highest clarity Shangshin, which arose in the 360s. Around this time, two brothers of the aristocratic Xu family hired the medium Shangxi to establish contract with Shumai's wife, who died in 362, to find out about her fate in the other world. She appeared to tell them about her status and explain the overall organization of the heavens. She also introduced the medium to various other spirit figures who revealed methods of personal transformation, meditation, visualizations, and alchemical concoctions, gave through instructions on how to transmit the texts and their methods, and provided prophecies about the golden age to come. Talisman used in the highest clarity practice. The two brothers wrote down everything Yangji transmitted, however disarrayed it may have seemed, and created basic collection of sacred text. They shared their new revelations with their immediate neighbors and relatives, thus establishing the first generation of highest clarity followers. They developed a spiritual practice that also included a daily routine of stretches, breathing, and self-massages in combination with the use of talismans and incantation, all to purify their bodies and enhance their vigor for the great endeavor of becoming immortal. When you get up in the morning, always calm your breath and sit up straight. Then interlace the fingers and massage the nape of your neck. Next, lift the face and look up. Press the hands against the neck while moving the head back. Do this 3 or 4 times, then stop. This causes essence to be in harmony and the blood to flow well. It prevents wind or wayward ki from entering the body. Over a long time, it will keep you free from disease and death. Next, bend and stretch. Extend the hands to the 4 extremes, up, down, left, right. Bend backward and stretch out the sides, and shake out the 100 joints. Do each of these 3 times. These similar and morning practices were further accompanied by incantations that implored the deities and perfected one's support to the practitioner, and enhanced their visions of divine ascension. An example is, "My spirit and material souls receiving purity. My 5 spirits of the inner organs are restful and at peace. I return in a flying carriage to visit the heaven of jade clarity. Ascend to great non-being and journey with the sun. Becoming a perfected, I emerge in mystery with the emperors and lords." The practice also involved the use of talismans, written in red ink on yellow paper in imitation of the sacred writings of the other world. Adepts use them, either by placing them on themselves or by burning them and drinking the ashes. Alright, I made enough here, guys. Leave a like, comment, and subscribe. And once again, I'll leave the link to this down in the description box below, along with your email. You can email us at themoners@gmail.com for private consultation. And I'll see you guys in the next video.